Hello guys, hope you're doing well. I'm Ollie. If you enjoy a good Reddit story, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I won't stop you. Right then, let's crack on with our first story of the day. Our first story of the day comes from Euphoric Staff 2752 in the Am I the Jerk subreddit. And it says, am I the jerk for sleeping with my friend while he was in a relationship? Okay, before I tell the story, I want to make this clear. This all happened in high school and everyone's moved on, but the situation was on my mind for a couple of days while I was reminiscing about my teenage years and I wanted to share. I'm a gay male and this was my sophomore year. I had a friend named Norman who was bisexual. We'd been close for about 3 years and would hook up occasionally. One day, I saw him in the hallway with this girl. Let's call her Mardot. I said hi and he introduced her as his girlfriend. I was confused because he never mentioned her to me, but I kept it friendly. We talked and she said they just started being boyfriend and girlfriend today after talking for a few weeks. Which was very interesting because Norman and I were definitely doing things during those few weeks and he never mentioned talking to a girl about a potential romantic connection. Then I looked at him and he looked like a deer in headlights. I said, huh, that's very interesting. She asked how long we'd known each other. I said, since middle school. She was like, wow, you guys must be close. And I was like, yeah, we go way back. He actually took my virginity and we used to hook up sometimes. She looked shocked and asked if it was true and Norman flat out lied, saying, no, I don't like men. I don't know what he's talking about. I was just like, what? I asked him why he was lying and then Mardot snapped at me and told me to stop pushing gay fantasies onto him and called me a derogatory term. I was like, wow, okay. For the next month, anytime Mardot saw me, she'd glare or roll her eyes, even though I never said anything to her. I don't condone cheating whatsoever. She was being a complete jerk. She talked a lot of negative things about me and made it seem like I was harassing Norman and trying to hit on him because of that one moment. I avoided Norman entirely after that interaction, but then I realized something. If you're going to be nasty towards me, I don't think it's my responsibility to protect your feelings or your relationship. After not seeing Norman in person for a while, I messaged him like, hey, I miss you. Let's meet up. He said he wanted to, but was scared she'd find out. I told him she wouldn't. He asked for pictures, I sent them, and he was like, oh, I need you so bad. Then came over. We were intimate, and he really enjoyed it. But then he was sad, and told me he felt like he shouldn't have done this. I told him it's not like he really cheated on her. We were intimate long before they got together, and she's not a nice person anyway. The next day, I'm sitting in class, and Mardot barges in, marches to my desk, and knocks all my stuff to the floor. I was like, what is your problem? The teacher told her to leave immediately, and Mardot told the teacher to be quiet. Then she looked at me and was like, stop playing dumb. You know what you did. I was like, what did I do, really? Then she said Norman confessed to her that he cheated on her with me. I told her, I'm sorry you're upset that you got cheated on, but I'm not responsible for your relationship. If you're insecure, that's something you need to work on. She started hitting me. I was shielding my face with my hands, and then security broke us up. Then Mardot, Norman, and I had to go in for separate interviews with faculty. I explained that not only did Mardot physically attack me unprovoked, but she was also continuously spreading false rumors about me and giving me dirty looks. I told them that Norman and I being intimate was not an attempt to stir up any conflict, because that was meant to be private. After all the faculty meetings, Mardot was suspended for 6 days for bullying, calling me derogatory terms, fighting with me without provocation, etc. I didn't get any sort of punishment because relationship drama isn't against school policy, and Norman got suspended for 2 days because he kept lying to the faculty and also because I exposed his lies. Mardot was unpleasant and tried to physically attack me, but honestly, Norman was the worst one here. He lied about never being intimate with me. He allowed me and Mardot to have a conflict. He cheated and then told Mardot about our private matters, causing more conflict. Norman and I stopped talking, even though he came back on 4 different social media platforms after I blocked him, asking for forgiveness. But yes, this was in high school. I'm 19 now. What do we think, everyone? But yes, that's what happened. I'm 19 now, and honestly, life was more entertaining back then.
A Reddit user says, yes, you're the a-hole. Too easy. Next, OP responds, probably am. I don't feel bad about it because I'm not going to feel sorry for sleeping with someone's boyfriend if that person in question was continuously bullying me and spreading gossip about me. Knickers 1978 says, why is this important? Would you change it if you could? You're the jerk for worrying about it like it matters. OP responds, it's not important. It's just looking back at something that happened in high school. What, so I can't look back on old memories? Okay, Laugh Girl says, yes, you were a jerk and also refused to take accountability. You got smacked around because it's what you deserved for being unpleasant and breaking up a home, so to speak. Was it right that she put her hands on you? No. Was it justified? Yes. He deceived you and left you looking foolish. You deserve that situation, and hopefully Norman got his comeuppance as well. Do it again, and the next person may do something much worse. Stay away from people who are in relationships. A Reddit user says,
You're the asshole. Cheating is never okay. The next story comes from Incontemptible in the Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit. And it says, am I the a-hole for suing my friends after singing and playing for their entire wedding and not getting paid? I, a 30-year-old male, am a lawyer, but I'm also very active in music. I sing and play piano, organ, and guitar. Pretty much any instrument I can get my hands on. I performed at several weddings, often as a personal favour for close friends. A while back, my friends Jimmy and Belle asked if I could handle the entire music for their Catholic wedding mass. That meant singing and playing the organ throughout the whole liturgy. Processional, offertory, communion, recessional, etc. I agreed, assuming I was being invited as a guest and doing this out of friendship. But as the wedding approached, I noticed I hadn't received any kind of invitation, not even to the mass. I asked Belle, and she replied, "Oh, we had to trim the guest list, but you can still come early to rehearse and do the music." Translation, I wasn't invited. I wasn't even treated like a guest, just free labour. Still, I honoured the commitment. I arrived early, rehearsed, sang, and played the entire mass alone, packed up and left. No acknowledgement, no token, no food, no seat, no thank you. So I sent them a professional invoice at a reasonable rate for performing solo for a full wedding mass. Nothing excessive, just what it was worth. They didn't pay it. Belle ignored me. Jimmy said he'd talk to her, but nothing happened. They ignored follow-ups. After 30 days, I sent a demand letter. No response. So I sued them for breach of oral contract and unjust enrichment. We had written messages confirming the arrangement, screenshots of Belle asking me to perform, timing, songs, and expectations. I represented myself. They showed up, shocked that I followed through. Guess what? I won. The judge ruled in my favour and ordered them to pay the full amount plus court costs. Now our friend group is on fire. Some say I went too far, others quietly say, good for you. Belle's been posting cryptic quotes about betrayal and money over friendship. So now I'm wondering, am I the a-hole for suing people I once considered friends after they used me for free live music and refused to pay? Abject at 2459 shares, not the asshole. If you were not allowed to attend as a guest, that means you were hired to play, therefore they should pay. Comprehensive Pop 241 says, laughing out loud, forget Belle and Jimmy, and good riddance. You're not the a-hole, and good on you for standing up for yourself. I love that you took them to court and won. Applause. I'm sick of entitled people using their friends to get wedding freebies. They could have just invited you, or paid, and avoided all their own drama. The final story comes from Glassberry7766 in the Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit, and it says, am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my boyfriend's birthday trip after he told everyone I was just a guest? So my 27-year-old female self and my 29-year-old male boyfriend planned a 4-day trip for his 30th birthday with his closest friends, totaling 8 people. I did 90% of the planning, booked the Airbnb, coordinated rides, and even paid the deposit up front because I have the better credit card. He said he'd pay me back for half later, and his friends would send their shares once I sent the total. Cool. Fast forward to the trip. Everyone's having fun until the first dinner. The waitress asked if we were celebrating something, and my boyfriend loudly said, yeah, my birthday trip. I paid for everyone to be here. Everyone clapped. Meanwhile, I nearly choked on my drink. Later, I asked him why he said that, and he goes, it's just easier to say that. Don't make it weird. I let it go until the next day when one of his friends pulled me aside and said, you're so lucky to have a guy who treats his girlfriend and friends like this. Not many would pay for a whole trip. At that point, I'd had enough. When it came time to settle up for activities, I sent everyone my full invoice with receipts and payment breakdowns. They were shocked. Apparently, he'd told them I was tagging along for free because I don't make as much. They all sent me money immediately, except him. When we got home, I told him I wouldn't accept his portion because, apparently, you paid for everything. He said I was being petty and embarrassing him in front of his friends. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for not letting him pay me back and basically turning his lie into a lesson? The Waco Fogey says, you're not the a-hole. He wanted to make himself look big by making you look small. Think long and hard about that. How much of your life do you want to spend living in that dynamic? Because I guarantee you that nonsense will appear again and again. But honestly, take the money and run. Edit. Thanks for the award. Fleur de Dragon says, so okay, having everyone pay in a dramatic reveal except for your boyfriend proves what to him? The friends and you are the ones stuck with the consequences of paying significant out-of-pocket costs. He pays nothing except public embarrassment. I noted you referred to these people as his friends, not joint friends, so trust me when I say he won't remain embarrassed for long. However, I might decide to end the relationship before he does, because I don't know if his ego can handle what you did. You're not the arsehole for making sure you were paid back. It's clear it wasn't a misunderstanding from your boyfriend, and it's clear he intended for you to foot the entire bill. He lied to you and his friends, and his behaviour was shady. It just sucks that you didn't get the money from him as opposed to his friends.